Hello and welcome. Tonight we will take a journey so vast it stretches across billions of years. It is the story of us, the story of how humans came to be. This is not a quick story. It is a slow unfolding, written in stone, in bone, in the quiet traces of the past. It is the story of life, of change, of survival. So, I invite you now to settle in. Find a comfortable place. Allow your eyes to soften. Let your breath slow. And prepare to drift with me across the great timeline of human evolution. Part 1. The beginning of life. Our story does not begin with humans. It does not even begin with animals. We must travel all the way back, about 4 billion years ago. The Earth was young, still cooling from its fiery birth. Volcanoes erupted, lightning cracked through the skies, and the oceans were forming. Somewhere in that ancient water, the first spark of life began. Tiny, simple organisms appeared, single-celled beings. They had no brains, no bones, no eyes. But they had the one quality that would shape everything that followed: the ability to grow, to divide, to change. For billions of years, life was small and simple. But slowly, over time, complexity grew. Cells learned to cooperate. They formed multicellular organisms. From these humble beginnings, all life, plants, animals, and humans, would eventually emerge. Part 2. The Age of Mammals. Fast forward. The year is 65 million years ago. Dinosaurs, who had ruled the Earth for over 160 million years, suddenly vanished. An asteroid struck the Earth, causing devastation. But in the silence that followed, mammals rose. Small, furry creatures who had once hidden in the shadows now had room to grow and explore. They spread into forests, into grasslands, into mountains, and among them, the first primates appeared. These early primates lived high in the trees. They had grasping hands with nails instead of claws. They had forward-facing eyes, allowing them to see depth and judge distance. These small adaptations would one day make climbing, tool-making, and exploration possible. Though they were small, they were clever, and they began the long path toward becoming us. Part 3. The first hominins. Now we move forward again, to about 7 million years ago, in Africa. This is when we meet the first hominins. One of the earliest was Sahelanthropus tchadensis. It was only about the size of a chimpanzee. Its face was a mixture of ape-like and human-like features. And, most importantly, its skull suggests it could walk upright, at least some of the time. Walking on 2 legs, called bipedalism, was a crucial step. It freed the hands. It allowed our ancestors to carry, to gather, and later, to create. Over the next few million years, many different hominins appeared. Some thrived for a time, then disappeared. Each was part of the long, branching tree of human evolution. One of the most famous was Australopithecus afarensis. Living around 3.9 to 2.9 million years ago, she is best known through the fossil skeleton called Lucy. Lucy stood just over 3 feet tall. She walked upright, though still climbed trees for safety. Part 4. The birth of Homo. Around 2.5 million years ago, something new happened. A new genus appeared, the genus Homo. and with it the first signs of human-like behavior. The earliest species was Homo habilis, meaning handy man. They used the first known stone tools. Sharp flakes chipped from rocks allowed them to cut meat, to scrape hides, to crack open bones for nutritious marrow. These tools changed everything. They opened new sources of food, they encouraged cooperation, and they allowed survival in difficult times. From Homo habilis came others. Homo erectus appeared about 1.9 million years ago. Taller, stronger, with a larger brain, Erectus was a true explorer. They were the first humans to leave Africa, travelling into Asia and Europe. They controlled fire, using it for warmth, protection and cooking. And they may have built the first shelters. With fire, night was no longer a time of fear. Humanity was taking shape. Part 5. A world of human species. For much of history, the Earth was not home to just one kind of human. It was shared by many. Homo heidelbergensis, living about 700,000 to 200,000 years ago, was a powerful hunter. They used wooden spears to hunt animals like horses and deer. Some scholars believe they may have been the ancestors of both modern humans and Neanderthals. The Neanderthals, or Homo neanderthalensis, lived from about 400,000 to 40,000 years ago. They thrived in the cold climates of Europe and Western Asia. Stocky and strong, they were well adapted to the Ice Age. They made sophisticated tools, wore clothing, and hunted in groups. They cared for their sick and injured. And they performed burials, perhaps even with rituals. Neanderthals were not so different from us. In fact, when modern humans met them, they interbred. Today, many people carry small traces of Neanderthal DNA. Part 6. The Rise of Homo sapiens. And then, about 300,000 years ago in Africa, our species appeared, Homo sapiens. At first, we were not so different from others, but slowly we began to show something new. We painted on cave walls, we carved symbols into bone, we created jewellery from shells and beads. We told stories, not just for survival, but for meaning. By 70,000 years ago, humans began spreading far beyond Africa, across Asia, into Europe, where they met Neanderthals, into Australia, across vast stretches of water, and eventually into the Americas, perhaps as early as 20,000 years ago. Everywhere we went, we adapted. We hunted, we gathered, we farmed, we built villages, then cities. We learned to write, to trade, to dream. Slowly, we became the only human species left. Others faded away, Neanderthals, Denisovans, hobbits. But they live on, in our DNA, and in the memory of fossils.
Part 7. Reflection. And so, here we are, billions of people alive today, all descended from a single shared past, from tiny single-celled organisms in the oceans, from primates in the trees, from upright walkers on the African plains, from toolmakers, firekeepers, wanderers, and dreamers. The story of human evolution is not just science. It is poetry. It is the slow rhythm of survival, of adaptation, of change. As you listen, you may notice your own breath, moving in and out, just as it has for every ancestor before you, for every creature that lived, breathed, and gave way to the next. When you rest tonight, you are resting in the company of millions of years of history. Each heartbeat, each breath, is part of the great chain of life. And now, the story pauses. It is still being written, every day, in you, in me, in all of us. But for tonight, it is enough. So close your eyes, drift into the silence, and let the footsteps of your ancestors guide you into sleep. Good night.